heating up the roasted tomato we did back in the fall. So right now it's the start of January. It's about -1 degree Celsius outside, and I might have 2 containers of the roasted tomato we prepared back in the fall, which I think was the end of October, early November, somewhere around there. What you want to do, and they're frozen. I've had them out for about an hour or so, so it's easy to pour, to get out into well, first of all, you need to take it out of the plastic container and put it into a microwavable container, unless you want to thaw it out from the night before or early in the morning, you know, you're having dinner later. You can take it out and thaw it out completely, then empty it in here and just heat it up for about a minute or so. In my case, it's still frozen. And these are not microwavable containers, by the way. And I ain't trying to pollute my body with all kind of plastics and stuff like that. I ain't risking it. I love life too much. So that's going to get washed and that's going to get reused. But this is going to go into the microwave now, still frozen as you can see. What I'm going to do is break it up just a tiny bit, and I'm going to go intervals on high intervals of 1 minute. And every minute after I take it out, I'm going to break it up and I'm going to stir it around so it thaws out evenly. And if you notice over here, I have some rice cooking and I have some frozen dal that I'm just reheating, so I'm eating good tonight. Rice, dal, tomato, choka. It doesn't get better. The ultimate vegan / vegetarian meal. Well, I do like a baigan choka and roti as well, but I eating good tonight. I ain't complaining. And as that thaws in the microwave, I have my mortar and pestle here, salt. We need some Scotch bonnet pepper. In amounts that you can tolerate. I like it spicy, so I'm going in with the entire thing. But to make it easier, I'm just chopping up the pepper. And be mindful, wash your hands with soap and water after. You don't want to be touching your cocolux after handling that pepper by mistake or intentional, unless you're a freak. I don't know, man. But anyhow, I'm taking the stems off the garlic, and I need 4 large cloves of garlic, a rough chop as well, and the salt in there, it's gonna work as an abrasive to help break this down into a sort of a paste. So that is what I'm gonna do next. So put that over, and then I'm gonna cup my hand over so nothing splatters, and I'm just gonna go ahead and, you notice how easy and quick salt is making things here. Now, if you wanted to add more flavor to this, and you've seen me do that in the past, you can take the Scotch bonnet pepper, put it over an open flame, like over your gas stove or whatever, and roast it. Once you char it, it brings out a nice smoky flavor. But remember, I grilled the tomatoes outside on an open fire, so I already have that smoke in there. I already have the sort of caramelized and burnt ends and stuff like that, yeah? So I'm gonna go ahead and crush this, and we're almost done. 2 more things we need to do, and that is to slice an onion very thin. The thinner it is, the better, and the more onions, in my humble opinion. A good tomato choka or baigan choka must have a ton of onion in there. So prep that onion, and we will need a couple tablespoons of your favorite oil. In my case, I'm going to use olive oil, and you know, that's it. It's thawed completely now. It's nice. It's warm. You need it to be warm, yeah? So you notice the specks of black that I was talking about. That's the charred bits. That there is pure niceness. So what we need to do now is to scrape and to add the garlic, pepper, salt sort of mash that we made there into the bowl, and then we need to give it a good mix. So I'm just going to shift that over, and I apologize for that sort of noise. I know people are always complaining about the SMR, the noises I make. Alright, so I need to find, it's 2024, I need to find something else to complain about. And we're going to hit that mix, just to mix that in thoroughly. Remember, we already had salt in there, so At the end, after you chunky things, you can taste it and adjust the salt to your liking. But the whole idea here now is to make sure that garlic and scotch bonnet and everything. And you know, if pepper is not your thing, you don't really need to add the pepper. But in my humble opinion, a choka must have a sort of a heat element to it. After which, knockety knock, and we're gonna top it with all of that lovely thinly sliced onion. And the last thing we need to do, and I explained in a previous recipe why I like doing it like this. Some people may mix in the onion right away here. I don't like doing that. I like to pour the hot oil over the onion to sort of temper it and cook it a little bit and release some of that onion flavor in here. My oil is nice and hot. I'm seeing whispers of smoke, as you can see there. And that's all you need to do. Then you will just tuck that in and mix it thoroughly. And that there, ladies and gentlemen, is tomatoes choka. Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. I do hope you all get an opportunity to give this recipe a try. And you know, I'm having it with dal and rice. You can have it with your hot sada roti. Best thing, I should have put some more onions in here though, you know. But anyhow, all you know what I'm talking about, right? Irie.